so glad that you're here today. Thank you so much for joining me. Whether this is your first time at the channel or your 100th, thank you. I appreciate it. I am here to hang out with you for a few minutes today talking about Hooray for Surprises. It's a stamp set that comes with dies from Stampin' Up! And it allows you to create a card or another type of project if you want with a surprise underneath. I have been enjoying making these for a couple of days, showed it off on my Facebook page, and wanted to be sure to do a YouTube video for it as well. So we've got everything set to go here on my work surface. I would like to introduce myself first. I'm Julia with Julia Sue's Stamping, where I am passionate about stamping, coloring, creating paper crafts and cards, and sharing the fun of how to do all of that with you. I'm from Northeast Ohio, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. All the supplies for everything that I use today will be listed down in the description, so be sure you take a look. My blog is also listed there, and all the measurements for everything I do is listed on the blog. So I have lots more detail there for you if you're interested in that, and if you decide you'd like to make any purchases on my online store. Thank you. Supporting my small business means so much to me, and I couldn't do it without your help. So thank you very much. If you already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, that's okay. That's okay. If you decide to use me, I would appreciate your support, like I said. So that's that. I'm going to turn this camera down to the work surface now. Are you ready? So as usual, one of the first things I'll do is grab some grid paper to bring in. And the dies that I'm talking about today are these Hooray for Surprises dies. These are the big players. And as you can see, they are not completely, okay, let's take a look at this one. Do you see how it is an absolute complete all the way around? It's got a steel edge that is going to cut. Well, these do not. It has little notches, and every now and then it has a notch in there, and that makes it perforated so it doesn't cut all the way through. That's what makes these cards have that little surprise in them. Do you see this one too? It's got the little perforations in it. There you go. And so that's what we're going to play around with here. The first thing I do is I get a piece of basic white or whatever color cardstock I'm going to have, and I have it cut so that I have two of that size, at least two of that size, sometimes three. And this piece right here of the basic white has been cut to be 5 by 4 1/4. All right, so this 5 by 4 1/4, I had a second sheet that I did as well. All right, and then I put the die cut where we're going to start with this one, and I put these pieces together. Then I put the die cut, and I put the die cut on with a little bit of washi tape right where I want it to be so it's not going to go anywhere. And then I often also put a little piece of washi tape on my 2 or 3 pieces of cardstock. Then I run it through the cut and emboss machine in this way. After I've done that, I can take the pieces off. You can see I've got it all perforated, but it is still attached to it. So I will have, like, all of them will have this, and then I have a piece that has not run through the machine, and I use that as my base. I have that one piece, I will tear out the perforated piece, and this is now my template. All right, I keep the templates, I have several of them, and I keep them in the stamp set so that I keep it all the time. And that way I'll know how big this was, and I can make others like it and not have to put in 2 or 3 sheets. I can just do 1 or maybe 2 instead of so many because I already have a template. So that's just my little trick and tip. And then I take another piece that I've cut to be the same size, all right, and nothing has happened to it. I didn't run it through the machine. Then I use this template and I stamp right through. So say I'm using this happy birthday, and this happy birthday sentiment is from the So Sincere stamp set. Do you see the happy birthday? And it runs long ways down. I like that. I thought that would fit perfectly in here. You can use other words that you want from other stamp sets and then just line it up and stamp it right down there. So I did that already on a sheet of cardstock, and you can see that it would line up perfectly through that, through my template. See? So now I'm going to take the piece that I did not make as the template, and it still has it adhered in there, and I'm going to put it over top of the surprise message. And the best way I have found to do it so far is to use some liquid adhesive. So I'm just going to rub a little bit of liquid adhesive on here. Not much. I'm just doing a little bit. And I like the liquid adhesive for this because I can move it around a little, and it's not going to adhere right away. It gives me a little bit of wiggle room to make sure I've got it exactly the way I want it on that base piece. So getting it on there, smoothing it out. Perfect. All right. You have to be very careful with these perforated pieces or they will have issues and pop out. So you need to really handle them with care. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this little Open Me on it. And that is from the Hooray for Surprises stamp set. It has this little Open Me, has a pull and a For You, and it's just a really great, cute stamp set. You could also have this You Are Simply Amazing right in here if you were having this be a landscape. I'm going to keep this as a portrait style of card. So I'm grabbing the Memento Tuxedo Black, which is what I use to stamp that happy birthday. I'm going to stamp it because I can see right where I'm stamping, and I'm going to put it right down here. And that turned out nicely. All right, so I'm going to close this up so I don't accidentally do something and get it on top of me, get some ink on me. And I'm going to set these other items aside. These are magnetic sheets that I got a long, long time ago. I like to use them when I'm using lots of different dies when I'm creating so that I don't misplace them because, oh, I don't know if you're anything like me, but when I'm in the midst of creating, I lose things on my desk that I just had with me a second ago. So I'm going to go ahead then and decorate this and create the card. The first thing is I'm going to bring in a piece of basic white that has been cut 5.5 by 8.5 US measurements, so that everything's in inches, and I also have everything listed on the blog. I scored it at 4.25, so I'm going to bend the paper at the 4.25 score line and then make it tight using the bone folder. And then I'm going to put on a piece of the berry burst, and that is just 1/8 of an inch smaller, 5 1/8 inch here by 4 3/8 inches here. And I'm going to use the seal, the Stampin' Seal Plus, to adhere this piece down right onto the base. Just having a little bit of the white show around the outside of it. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the Stampin' Seal Plus to adhere this sentiment piece and the fun surprise piece down onto the berry burst. And again, it's only 1/8 of an inch smaller because this is 5 by 4.25. There we go. So I have this piece of designer series paper that I cut from the Flowering Zinnias Sweet collection of designer series paper. It's a brand new online exclusive that will be available come March the 5th. And as a demonstrator, I got to order it early, and oh my gosh, this stuff is incredible. I love it. This is 2.5 inches by 4.5 inches. So I'm just going to set it up here in the corner. When you have these little surprise pieces, you have to make sure you don't cover them at all. All right, so you have to leave it wide open. And next I'm going to take some zinnias. I cut these out of that same pack of designer series paper, DSP, and I was watching TV, just doing some fussy cutting. I cut a whole bunch of these out because they're just so pretty. And I think it would be really fun to use one with this. What do you think? So I'm going to keep that free, and the die cuts for this also came with some leaves for zinnias, so I could use some of those if I wanted. I cut a couple out. So let's see what we think, if we think any of these would look good with that as well. I just play with it for a few minutes here, just for a moment. And from the Hooray for Surprises, it has some different elements that you can also cut out. So I did a few of those as well to see if maybe I would rather play with those instead. So they're a little bit smaller, which would go with the scale of this card more, I think. So let's see, because when you get a flower arrangement, it doesn't necessarily have to go with, the leaves and things you have. They put pretty things in there that are like baby's breath, and they're not roses, so you don't have to have stuff that only goes with zinnias, right? Let's see if I did that and then put this there just to give it some color. Oh, I like that. I think that looks really pretty. Okay, let's go with that. I put some adhesive sheets on cardstock and then ran it through the cut and emboss machine. And so I'm going to just peel this off. And ever since I discovered the adhesive sheets, I have been in love with cutting these things now because it's so much easier. It's crazy how much easier it is to do small die cuts and have no problem adhering them. I don't have to worry about the glue anymore. It all just goes on so beautifully. Yeah, this is great. So much easier. And I had a different colored one, didn't I? These are made out of Old Olive and Lemon Lime Twist. So there we go. Getting that adhesive sheet off and putting it right there. So I'm going to use some adhesive. And then put it on top of here, just a little bit higher. There. Nice. How fun is that? All right, so I'm going to decorate the inside here. I'm going to go ahead and put a little strip of 1/2 inch by 4 inch of the designer series paper so it matches the front. Very good. And from the Zinnia, it's called Simply Zinnia stamp set. And I wrote on here that has dies, and it has an embossing folder that will go with it. Isn't that pretty? I'm going to go ahead and ink that up in the Berry Burst. Put that aside. And I'm going to put it, stamp it off, and then put it on the inside. There. So that will look so pretty for someone's birthday. They're open there and it's going to say happy birthday in there, and then you write your happy birthday message to them. Pastel adhesive backed sequins here. They come in two different sizes, a larger size and a smaller size. Using the take your pick tool, I'm going to go ahead and just put a few on here. So I like these rosy pink colored ones. I'll put that there, and then I'm going to get a larger one also and put it here, I think, and then a larger kind of gold and a smaller gold one right up there, and one more small pink, I think. How fun is this? So someone's going to open this. There's a fun hidden message in there. Hooray for surprises. It's so fun. Okay. And then we also want to decorate the envelope, right? So we've got the Berry Burst ink and a beautiful white envelope right here that we're going to use. Ink up the stamp pad. And right down here at the bottom corner, look how detailed that is. Isn't it beautiful? And now we have a matching envelope to go with our card. We'll start with the base again. We have a basic white sheet of 5.5 by 8.5 that has been scored at 4 1/4. We're going to use the bone folder to make that score line nice and tight, and we've got the base completely ready to go. I'm bringing in the other colors. We've got a Blackberry Bliss. Oh my gosh, I love this color. It is so beautiful. And that will be the next layer. It is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. So I'm going to use some of the Stamp and Seal Plus on here, adhering it to the base of basic white. And then from the Flowering Zinnia Sweet Collection, the Designer Series paper. This is one of them on the other side. Isn't that gorgeous? And that's where I cut all those zinnias from that. I love this. It's so pretty. And that is the next one. This sheet has been cut to be 5 inches, 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. So the Blackberry Bliss is just an 1/8 inch bigger, and we'll frame it just beautifully. It's a nice little matte for that color. Isn't that pretty? Oh, it's just yummy. All right, the next thing is going to be a 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 old olive that will go right into the middle of that. And now you're saying, but Julia, I thought that you had another surprise card you were going to do. I do have another one. We're going to get all this stuff finished first. We have a 1/2 inch piece by, let's see, I think this is 5 1/4. And that will go right here on the inside to help decorate the inside of the card. So a little bit of adhesive on there. We'll get all these little pieces set aside so there's no problem with where they went. All right, so far so good. Now, here's the fun part. For this card, I use this larger of the 2 circles. And the reason being was I discovered that this larger of the 2 circles, and it has a little pull tab where someone would pull it open, fits the circle sayings perfectly. All of these different elements will fit perfectly inside of here with the circle. So I started off with the celebrate right here, and then I'm going to put the little cupcake in there. We'll also have the happy birthday inside of our card. So the Circle Saints, I used a lot of different stamp sets with this, with making these cards, because it's just so fun. They're really fun. So I began again with 3x3 basic white piece of cardstock, and I took 2 of them, ran them through the cut and emboss machine just like I showed you before. I used a little bit of the washi tape to keep my cutting element perfectly fit on there, and then I also use a little bit of the washi tape to make the 2 pieces of the cardstock stay completely together, because sometimes things move in the cut and emboss machine. So I already have the piece that I did, and you can see it's not coming out, it's just perforated. You see little perforations there that keep it in. And then I've got this piece of the cardstock that is, they're both 3x3, and so the piece I did not run through is going to be the base where our message goes. This will be on top after I use my template that was on here. I took it out, and I'm going to use the template, lay it down on here so I know exactly where to stamp the sentiment. And the sentiment I'm going to use is from the So Sincere stamp set. This one here that says, "Hope your day is a happy one," which I think is a great message for someone's birthday, right? So the ink I'm going to use is the Blackberry Bliss. Open that up, and I'm going to get the ink pad in there. Now I can see right where the template is and where I want to put my message. And so I just lay it right down. Perfect. I remove my template, and then I will keep this in the stamp set. So anytime I'm making something that is a 3x3, I'm going to know how that's going to work on there. So before I adhere this, and because these are photopolymer stamps, I'm going to use a little bit of paper piercing mat here, and I'm going to have some give underneath my element, underneath my piece, using Old Olive ink and the pull word from Hooray for Surprises stamp set. It has pull there. Now I'm going to ink up this word, and I'm going to put it right here. So I've got pull on there, see? And then close this ink. I'm going to use that circle of Celebrate with Blackberry Bliss. And because I can see where I'm stamping, I will just lay it right on this circle. Set it down, lift up, and it worked beautifully. How fun! This is so fun. I love these cards. They're just really fun. So we're going to have a secret message there. And the next thing I'm going to do is adhere this onto our secret message. Once again, grabbing some of the liquid adhesive, and I'm just scraping right along the cardstock, not using much adhesive. And when you have too much, it causes more problems than if you don't have enough. And like I said before, I'm going to do this because then it allows me a little bit of time to make sure I've got it exactly on the bottom where I want it. I can adjust if it's not just where I want it to be. And I'm happy with that. So I can take this 3x3 piece and adhere it to my old olive base that will go underneath. Bring that in and then lay it right down on top. Centering and then adhering very nicely. All right, so now I'm going to put a little cupcake on there. And I've got a piece of scrap. I'm going to ink it up with Blackberry Bliss. I'm going to color it in, and so I'm going to use the Stamp and Blends, a little bit of the crumb cake. I keep mine together with a little scrunchy hair thing so that they are always together. And then I'm going to go ahead and color the cake in because I would like for it to be chocolate. So I'm using this light brownish color of the crumb cake, the darker shade of the Stamp and Blends, to make it so it looks more like a chocolate cake in there. And then I'm going to use the lighter color because white is rarely ever really white. And I'm going to just do a little bit of highlighting here along the seams, along the edges of the frosting. And this also helps bring out a little bit of the Blackberry Bliss color. So it kind of shows up a little bit more. So just highlighting that. Then I decided I wanted to do a little paper piecing. Another little piece that I got out of the Designer Series paper. Flowering Zinnia's Sweet Collection. And going to stamp that up. Perfect. Then using my paper snips, cut that out. So to help make it not take up so much time, I have one I already did, as you can see. And so once again, I'm going to use a little bit of the liquid glue to put it on top of there, but I do need to cut this out. So let's go ahead and cut this out, and I will speed up the video here. As you can see, I pretty much always keep the scissors in one place and I move the item that I'm cutting. So grabbing the adhesive, I'm going to put a little bit onto the back here of the cupcake holder. And now I'm going to put that onto my cupcake. So paper piecing, just take a little bit of paper and piece it on. I'm going to use a dimensional, pop it up on the card, get that dimensional off. The sequins for this are the neutral adhesive backed sequins, and using the putty tool, I'm going to use these silver ones. And I'm going to simply put them onto the card, and a little bit of Wink of Stella on the cupcake holder. So squeeze out a little bit of the glitter and then wipe it on there. How pretty! That worked out really well. So to decorate this envelope, it's only going to be some of the Blackberry Bliss and this cupcake. I'm going to stamp it on the envelope back here. All right, so close this up since I am exemplary at getting ink on myself. All right, now I've got a card and an envelope that match and are all ready to send. Oh, I forgot the sentiment inside. Happy birthday. That's right. So it's Blackberry Bliss again, bringing in the piercing mats, and a happy birthday from the circle sayings. With a matching envelope. So we got that all ready to go. And then we have the first card that we made with a matching envelope for that one. And that is that. We created 2 cards with surprises in them for somebody, some happy birthday cards with matching envelopes. Did a little bit of paper piecing while we were at it, and had some fun with some beautiful layers. Brand new products from Stampin' Up, a little bit of coloring. So much fun. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you have some fun making some of these yourself. Don't be afraid of it. It's fun. Leave me a comment if you have any questions. I will do my best to answer and to help you out. All right. So I hope you have a wonderful day, that you have an opportunity to get inky too. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Bye.